Hi artists, Mrs. Marden here. It's that time of week again, the art book of the week. I'm going to read you the book called No Good in Art by Miriam Cohen. And I want you to pay attention to the message in this book. So it's called No Good in Art. When Jim was in kindergarten, the art teacher said, "Dear, your man has no neck." Then she took Jim's brush and said, "You ought to make your grass with thin lines like this." And she painted her grass right on his picture. But in first grade, the class got another art teacher. She asked, "Do you ever think what you want to be when you get big?" Everyone nodded. "How would you like to paint a picture about it?" she asked. "Yes, yes," everyone shouted. Then the first grade set to work. Danny was telling everybody about his picture. "Look, I'm a doctor." The doctor was all painted white except for his eyeglasses. He was reaching inside a lying down man and pulling things out. "This is his heart, this is his stomach," Danny told the kids. Then he made the doctor pull out two big shoes. "These are his galoshes," Willie and George laughed and laughed. Margaret was painting a lady dancing. She had a front and a side and a back head. In sparkles on her whirling dress it said, "Margaret." "What a good idea to draw three heads. That's just the way it looks when you turn very fast," the art teacher said. After the first grade's trip to the museum, Willie drew only pictures of whales. This whale was so big it touched all the edges of the paper. It had a special strainer teeth like whales have. Willie printed finback whale on the bottom. "I think Willie is going to be a scientist," said the art teacher. "He knows so much about whales." Sammy made a fire engine driving across the paper. Speed puffs were coming out of all around. It was rushing so fast to the fire. At the end of the hook and ladder was Sammy. Louie took a crayon and drew little flowers everywhere. Each flower had a tiny face. Some had kitten faces, some had grandfather faces with whiskers, some wore eyeglasses, some had big noses, some were laughing, some were crying. "Are you in the picture?" asked the art teacher. Louie pointed to a little face. It was Louie. "What a lovely picture," the art teacher said. Sarah was going to be a lawyer because her mother was a lawyer. George said, "I'm Starfighter Man and the Dreadable Hunk." Anna Maria was a dentist. There was a little man in her chair. "Drill, drill, drill," she was saying. Only Jim was not painting. Paul said, "Why don't you make a picture?" "I am no good in art," said Jim. "Yes, you are," said Paul. And Anna Maria told Jim, "Some people are worse than you, but my grass is too fat. My men don't have necks." Jim hit his head with his hand. "And I don't even know what I want to be." The art teacher heard. She said, "Why don't you paint a picture of something you like to do?" Jim shook his head. But after she had gone to help somebody else, he moved his brush in a red circle around the paper. Then he squashed big yellow blots on the red. By mixing yellow and blue, he got green, and he made little green lines next to the yellow, and slippery blue all around. Jim kept thinking of more and more ways to make it beautiful. But the art teacher was saying, "Oh, I'm sorry. It's time to clean up. Put your name on your picture and give it to me." Jim hid his picture under the desk and went to clean his brushes. Willie and Sammy looked at one another. They grabbed Jim's picture from under the desk and handed it to the art teacher with their own. When all the pictures were hanging up, lots of kids stayed in front of one. "It's good," they said. "It's pretty. That blue is just like my grandma's dress. I like the green on top of the red. The person used good paint. It's good to use a lot of paint all around. But there's no name. Whose is it?" Willie and Sammy ran to the sink. They pulled Jim to the front of the room. "It's Jim's," they shouted. "What is it, Jim?" the kids wanted to know. "It's me eating pizza," Jim said. "Here's the red pizza and the yellow cheese and some green peppers." "I wish I had a pizza," George said. Sarah asked, "But what is Jim going to be?" Willie and Sammy said, "Maybe Jim might be an artist." "I think he could be." The art teacher was smiling at Jim. "You're good, Jim," said Paul. Then Jim believed them. There was the beautiful picture, and he had made it. So what is the message in that book? The message is to believe in yourself, to not give up. I never want to hear you say I can't and that I'm not good in art, because if you try, you will do your unique and beautiful best. So remember that.